Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneur Rescue Mission. This is a podcast from the Time to Grow, which is the company that Nancy and I run together. Super excited to be back here again with you guys today. And the next series of episodes, I would say this is episode one of a four-series episode, all around LinkedIn content. And I think this is something that a lot of people still struggle with. They maybe are just repurposing their content from Instagram or Facebook or maybe a TikTok and just throwing it up on LinkedIn. But the honest truth, and we talked about this in a previous episode about the LinkedIn algorithm and how there's 12 of them, which really means there's an algorithm for different type of stuff on LinkedIn. Now, what we're going to be covering over the next four episodes are four different types of content. Now, we're going to start with the easiest to obviously the most complex. And why we want to do that is that we don't want to come at you guys with like the most challenging things that can be done. We kind of want to break this down in very simplistic terms. Uh, the different forms of LinkedIn content that you can produce. Now, I will say this before we kind of dive in. You should be doing a smattering of all forms of LinkedIn content because what I have found, and through my own research of creating content on LinkedIn now for almost 13 years, is that my network definitely likes certain forms of content better than others. And just because you can create different forms of content, meaning the different types of content, whether it's video, long form, short form, whatever it is, it doesn't mean you should be producing all of those forms of content. You kind of have to hone in. You got to see what your audience resonates with because there are people on LinkedIn that appreciate video content. There's people that like short form written content, and there's people that like long form written content. And you got to have to take a temperature and kind of see what your network actually appreciates. So, Nance, any initial thoughts on LinkedIn content before we dive into today's specific piece of content?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, one thing before we even dive in and give you guys some tips, I think it's important to create a routine for yourself, just to do a little market research, right? Pick about maybe, right? I usually say no less than three, no more than five typically, but pick 3 to 5 people in your industry that are doing well. Right, that are posting content that resonates with you. And it could be, specifically on LinkedIn. In fact, that's what I would recommend, right? You want to see what they're already posting. But what's getting good engagement? What topics are they talking about? What are, their audience members and the people that follow them? What are they resonating with? And that is sometimes the best feelers, right, that we can put out there to get a gauge of, what is working and what isn't. Because I will tell you, right, there's different topics, there's different things that resonate, right, with different industries. And you're going to get a pretty good picture pretty quick if you are following, right, 3 to 5 people who are doing it well. And I'm not saying it's stuff you get a copy, but it's stuff that you can obviously learn from, you can be inspired by, and you can emulate in your own way, right? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but make it a simple routine. Do not make it overwhelming, right? 3 to 5 people. It could be something you do once a month, right? Just checking it out. But specifically today, we are talking about text posts. So go out there today and maybe after this, little episode that we go through, go write down maybe 3 to 5 that you want to put on the rotation as far as just, doing a little review and staying and keeping your pulse on what they're posting.
Is that a brontosaurus on your shelf?
Yes.
When did you get a brontosaurus?
I got him when I got the monkey
The monkey?
home goods. I love home goods. Yeah. Why are you jealous?
A little. I love dinosaurs. For those of you that can't, like you're listening on the audio version, Nancy has this
Actually,
gold brontosaurus statue.
do this.
Um,
Crawling
I'm.
up. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, geez. Anyway, so as mentioned, routine is really important. So let's break down the first type of content that you can create on LinkedIn. So these are called image text posts. Now, you've probably seen these before where someone will have some sort of image. It could be a graphic, it could be a chart, it could be an infographic, it could be a picture of themselves, it could be an AI generated photo, along with that, some text. Now, to kind of break this down, uh, you can write up to 3,000 characters in a text or image text post on LinkedIn. So it's pretty lengthy. I mean, you could have a long, long post. Now, just so people know, the longer form, which are newsletters and articles, that's 100,000 characters. So 30 times larger doing it that way. But if you've ever seen kind of like, the longer text posts that people sometimes will post on Instagram and Facebook, you have up to 3,000 characters on a LinkedIn text post. You can attach an image to it. Now, the question that Nancy and I get from people is, and I'm going to break down the structure of the text, but I'm going to talk about the image first. So, Nance, we get the question all the time. If I'm going to do an image text post, I totally get that. But what should I use as my image? Should I use an AI generated photo through ChatGPT? Should I create an infograph on Canva? Should I put a personal picture of myself? So, what would you give in response to that question from someone that doesn't know what kind of image to put along with their text?
Yeah, what I would say is it's going to be a mix. I've actually seen, of course, I always advise people, right? The more personal, the better, a lot of times. So if it is something like, that you're sharing, maybe a story or a situation, or maybe it's a celebration, right? Something that you're celebrating in your business, it could be 10 years, of service or celebrating a team member. Those posts do really well, right? They tend to get a lot of traction. LinkedIn pushes it out quite a bit because it creates a lot of conversation and hubbub. So those pictures of you can be very powerful. Do not do the overly filtered, ridiculous, perfectly polished pictures. A lot of people want real. So make sure that it is a picture that makes sense. In fact, one of our clients actually went viral. All he did, guys, was share a picture of his workspace. It was literally his desktop, and it was, here's where I'm working from today, and then sharing a little bit about, I think it was like working from home. It was incredibly impactful. People resonated, and that thing went, wild and crazy. So there are definitely some opportunities there. Now, also, okay, and I just using my own experience, yesterday I was going through on LinkedIn and I was looking for posts, which ones do I resonate with? Which ones, do I really connect with? And I love some of the ones that are super plain and simple and literally think billboard style, right? Where it's that quote that's really impactful, right? It gives you that emotional like spark where it's like, I feel that way too, on the side of a billboard. So it could be a quote like, good leaders, do not, whatever, like XYZ, fill in the blanks, right? And in fact, the one that I responded to yesterday was, good leaders treat everyone the same, even the people in the back or whatever. And I actually felt an emotional spark and I wanted to have a conversation about it. And so I actually wrote, this is something that my dad always taught me. My dad was in Vietnam and, he taught me to be very kind and nice to everyone because you have no idea what people are going through and they're doing the best they can to get by. So I felt really passionate, right, about that particular quote. It started conversation. People liked it, loved it. Other people commented. So it started the ball rolling. And what does LinkedIn want people to do? They want people to start conversation, right? Healthy, good conversation. So take a look at those. So back to Scott's original question, right? Which ones should you post, right? We've got the graphics of you, right? That's very personal. We've got the, resonating, right? Don't just post like a quote that's like, oh yeah, like have a great day, right? It's got to be something that obviously sparks an interest and is related, to what it is that your audience is, feeling, or it could be an emotion. It could be something within the industry, right? That's a big topic. One thing that Andy Crestodina, in fact, shared on one of the episodes of Social Media Examiner, which Andy Crestodina is the author of Content Chemistry, just came out with a new edition with some AI prompts. So shout out to Andy. But he actually said, one type of content that's doing really well on LinkedIn is that your thoughts and opinions, right? Sharing your thoughts and your takes on a specific topic. People love right, to hear other people's opinions, and they love to hear, right, so that they can chime in, or I agree, or yes, this is, and again, it kind of shows people your core values and what you're all about. So think about different topics in your industry right now. And in fact, a really cool AI tool to kind of help you with that is perplexity.ai. You can go on there and you can say, what are some trending topics right now in the health insurance industry? Or what are some trending topics right now in real estate? What are some trending and taboo topics in this? And we don't want to get hateful. Okay. We don't want to be like nasty and mean and comment in that way. In fact, we always say process it through the filters. Is it truthful? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Okay. So if you're sharing your voice on something and you're opening it up for discussion in a very emotionally intelligent and mature way, that's what we're looking for, right? Because then it creates that great conversation. LinkedIn likes it, LinkedIn will push it out more, and you keep going. So I would definitely say, Scott, it's going to be a mix. I know we can also mention, I know I shared a tool with you the other day, we can kind of talk about briefly, but you also
We
can get a lot of benefit, I will say, from
Yeah.
sharing
We're going to
infographics.
talk about that AI tool
Yep.
on the fourth episode of this because it
Ah,
really
we're going to save it.
we're going to save it because it correlates to LinkedIn newsletters. So
Absolutely.
we're not going to talk about it till then.
All right,
So
guys, stay tuned.
yeah, so let me chime in really quickly before we end today's episode. So, Nancy gave you some great tips about the image that you can use. So I'm going to talk about the structure of the text that's going to go along with it. So there's five key components, and I'm going to break this down, step one through step five. So step one is create an engaging scroll stopping headline. So it could be in all caps. It doesn't have to be. It could be like, three updates that you need to know about LinkedIn, right? So you want to stop people's scrolls. So you want to have something attention grabbing as far as your headline. The second thing that you want to do is position yourself as the resource to share this information through personal experience, right? Or create a link between you and the topic. So you don't want to just go into like, talking about it. You want to kind of say, over the last few years of leveraging LinkedIn, there's always updates, and I want to be the first to tell you about three important LinkedIn updates and how I'm taking advantage of them. So you're personalizing it and you're making yourself obviously correlated to the subject matter and also making yourself the subject matter expert. So scroll stopping, title, and then a couple sentences that kind of positions you as a subject matter expert. After you do that, the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to give three tips, three strategies, three takeaways, right? So here are the three important updates. Number one, it's this and do it this way. Number two, it's this and do it this way. Number three, and do it this way. So you're starting with your topic, linking yourself to the topic, and now you're talking about that specific topic, whether it's takeaways, information, keys, in sets of three. So there have been studies done that two is not enough, four plus is too many. People can't remember all that stuff, but if you do thing in threes, people will latch on to at least one or two of them. There's just a psychology behind the rule of three. So stick to three tips, three updates, three things you need to know, blah, blah, blah. Now, the fourth thing that you're going to do is you're going to finish with a call to action. So people always ask Nancy and myself, how do I create more engagement? Meaning, how do I create more people, liking or supporting or insightfuling the piece of content, but more so commenting? Well, ask people to comment. So all you have to finish is with a CTA, what was your biggest takeaway from today's post, or which tip helped you most? Comment below. So direct people where it is that you want them to go. If you just finish with, I hope you found this helpful, that's a statement. So it's people are going to read it, they may like it, but they're not going to engage because you haven't asked them to start a conversation. So you have your scroll stopping headline, you have a couple sentences positioning you as a subject matter expert, you have your three tangible tips or takeaways, and then the fourth thing is you have your call to action. The fifth and final thing that you need to do is three hashtags that directly relate to your personal brand and or content you've just posted. So two is too few, four is too many. So again, it's that power of three. LinkedIn has come out with articles that said they like three hashtags because people that don't know this, every hashtag on LinkedIn has its own specific newsfeed. So if you scroll through LinkedIn and you click on someone's hashtag that they used, it will take you to a content feed of people that have used that hashtag most recently, and it will show you how many people are following that hashtag, much like on Instagram, but it's more content driven. And it should be specific to what you're posting. So if I was to use three hashtags for the example that I've given in this episode, I would do hashtag LinkedIn, hashtag LinkedIn updates, hashtag LinkedIn tips, and then I would post it. So you have your image options and then you have your text. So that's kind of the five-step process to creating engaging text image posts on LinkedIn. And obviously, as Nancy and I mentioned, this is the first of a series of four. So next week, we're going to be going over LinkedIn polls. So if you've ever wondered, what they're all about, how you should conduct them, why people aren't voting, if you are doing them, we're going to kind of discover and kind of dive in deeper into how to get more people to engage in your LinkedIn polls. Nance, anything to finish with?
Yeah, I mean, what I just wanted to share with you guys is, obviously we're super passionate about, best practices and creating amazing LinkedIn content. We are super, super passionate also about streamlining things. We love AI, but we really believe that it's such an important thing, right, to marry both of the tools together, right? And the tools meaning your brain, right, and your human element and what you bring to the table, and then also using AI tools and prompts to help you get there, right? To remove that writer's block and to help you with that framework. So, what I wanted to, and I'm super, super excited to share with you guys, is we're really announcing, the Expert Content Society, which is a membership that we're opening the doors to. It's an amazing membership, right? We've already got a community already formed with some founding members, and it is pretty much your one-stop shop to go to. We're going to have monthly challenges. We're going to have short little workshops, right, with trainings like that are going to be a little bit deeper than what we went over today, but specifically on specific posts that you can do to really set yourself apart as the thought leader in your industry, and also answer the question, right? What the heck should I post, right, for my business? And how do I get myself out there? So we're going to answer all those questions. Each month, every member gets a playbook, right? That's filled with LinkedIn post templates, right? Literally templates that you can swap out with your own images and information. AI prompts, right? You'll get a whole swipe file full of different examples of different posts that you can recreate for yourself. There will be content planning worksheets. So you'll have a fillable calendar and a checklist to map out your content. We'll have engagement boosting guides, so different tips that you can do to really get more engagement around polls, carousels, shout out posts, and even some additional challenges that we'll be doing around growth. So it's going to be super exciting. It's amazing. I know you guys are going to love it. But if you want to learn more, you can go to thetimetogrowcom. We'll have a lot of information about it. It's called the Expert Content Society. So we'll definitely have all kinds of stuff where you guys can go and check that out. But like I said, it'll answer that question, what the heck should I post? And you guys will have plug and play templates where you can really incorporate, right, what it is that you do and your thoughts and skills and leadership, along with a little of that AI support as well, creating that content.
So we're excited about all that. So again, as Nancy said, go to thetimetogrowcom to find out more. You can get on the wait list. You can find out about everything that's going to be coming down the pike with the Expert Content Society. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye bye.